Welcome back to the GSTL Week 3. This is FXO versus NS Hoso. We are on the third match today. It's currently 1-1. Very nice showing by Oz for the first two games, but he did get toppled by NS Hoso Jakji.
Yeah. Now Optic Zero has come out to play, and I actually just walked over and talked to FXO during that break and asked, does he have a specific build plan? Because he hasn't been practicing PvT specifically.
Yep.
But he does a lot of, he's played PvT standard and done really well in the ladder, and whenever someone practices TVP with him, he's done well. So essentially, he feels really comfortable with the matchup, and he's just gonna play. He's gonna play straight up in standard. At least that's what I've been told. I wouldn't put it past him to say that and then go and do something crazy.
We gotta keep it secret. They might go tell the other person.
Yeah, like listening into our conversation right now.
Yeah.
If you guys didn't know this, when you go and sit on the booth, they take away all your communication devices, cell phones, and things of that nature.
Yeah.
So a lot of people actually noticed it because back in the beginning of the GSTL, people would like text in the middle of matches and stuff. It's like, is that allowed? Now
tweet. Oh, I'm about to win.
No, you're not allowed to have cell phones or anything like that, so no one can send you messages or anything. And when you're in game, you have to be set as busy or they will not start the game. There's no way anyone could cheat possibly using that. So just to settle any uncertainties any of you guys have had, there is no cheating possible here at the GSTL.
I don't think there really has been any.
No, there never has been. But
again, the
just
more
in case
people
some
that
of
you
those
bring in, you want to make sure that those sort of things are not allowed. This is evolving into a very sport with a lot of prize money. The more prize money you have, the more that's on the line, the more people are inclined to cheat. We are all humans. It's not something that is out of the question, but we want to make sure that it is not possible for people to do, even if they wanted to.
Yeah, there were some things that happened in Brood War that I don't really want to get into, but because we could talk for hours about that. But those kind of things do eventually start to happen in bigger sports, and we gotta keep those guys out of our out of our scene. Get them out of here.
It's more work for the industry, and it's more work for everyone to kind of police ourselves. But it's also encouraging that we're moving up to the big leagues. We're actually growing more and more every single day, and with that, there's more responsibility. There's more things that we have to look out for, but
there are so many rules at the GSL that you guys don't know necessarily. Like a lot of people I saw were posting today about the up and down matchup being changed because they're like, oh, what if someone just lost on purpose to their teammate because it doesn't matter?
Yeah.
If you lose on purpose in the GSL, you're banned from the GSL. That's what happens. Like if it's determined that you've lost on purpose, people make those decisions and you get banned. You can't lose on purpose. You're not actually allowed to do that.
The thing is, what you guys see on camera is only part of it. People here, there's refs constantly watching the matches. The coaches are always around to be talked to. Everything can actually be figured out extremely easily in those regards.
And there's the player organization.
Yep.
So they make most of those decisions. If they're deciding who fixed a match or did they fix the match, that kind of stuff gets decided by SU2Con. And they have a big board of people that makes these decisions. They're not stupid. They're really smart. So those kinds of things just won't happen. I see posts about it on the forums all the time, and those people, they just need to know. I mean, if they were here, they would know. That's what I'm telling you guys.
Yeah, so as you guys know, everything outside of the game is improving. Let's talk more about the inside of the game.
Yeah, we are actually inside of the game. The game is starting. Let's get into it. Who's going to put their team ahead? Will it be FXO or will it be NS Hoso? Let's find out here at the GSTL. All right, over here at the top right, a member of the team, FXO. He is known as
FXO Pick Zero.
He actually shares that O at the beginning of his name like Oz, and our announcer doesn't realize that it's actually still part of his name.
You guys
are
confusing everyone.
FXO is coming, the king of the GSL. It's actually a Korean fan. Held up that sign.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of Koreans that watch the global stream as well.
Down here at the bottom left, not to cut you off, Torch, but this player is
NS Hoso Jakji.
Yes. Go on.
Sorry to go on that a little bit. There are actually a lot of Koreans that watch the global stream. We thank you guys for watching. Not exactly the easiest way to learn English, but if you're already on the advanced level, it's a good way to continue it going. And we really like to have your support here, so let us know how we can continue to improve. This is the global stream. It's not just the non-Korean stream. It's the global stream.
Exactly. So we do see gas right away from Jakji, which is something that's a little bit abnormal for this matchup right now in its current state. I mean, it's something that was common before. We may see a Marauder expand from him. We may see some sort of Banshee opener. I wouldn't be surprised. Those types of Banshee openers were popular a few months ago. They're still popular on the Taiwanese server. I lose to those Banshee all-ins with the Raven and the Siege tanks all the time. We might see something like that from him. I don't think we will. The thing about this match for Jockji is he probably has no idea what to expect from Optic Zero.
Yeah.
Because he's never really played him, he's never really seen him before, and even if he had, he still wouldn't know what to expect because that's how Optic Zero is.
Optic Zero does have a lot of opportunities here on this map. This is Xel'Naga Caverns. It does get used a lot. There's a lot of things that are figured out on it, but it's still a very, very well-balanced map. So it's one of the best maps that I've seen so far. So it allows the players a lot of flexibility, but yeah, just a lot of interest can come out of this game.
I agree. Optic has actually been known to do a lot of weird things in this matchup. On this map, he can't do it, but on Metalopolis, for example, sometimes he goes one gate expand to the gold, because you can do that if you can get away with it. He does do things like that that are a little abnormal. But this SCV does come in here and see the double gases. We could see Optic, after he scouts that his opponent has that quick tech lab. He actually has not seen that, so he's not going to know. But if he did, we could have maybe seen a Void Ray all in. Even so, Optic, I wouldn't put it past him to go for a Void Ray all in. He loves to do that, but it looks like he is going to get a Sentry out first. He may go one gate Robo here.
Yeah, and we also see that Jockji is actually going for a second command center, as you were talking about. This command center is going to give him a huge economic lead if he can defend against it, but it really depends on if Optic Zero can scout it. We do have a Reaper coming out here. This Reaper is going to be able to take down the scouting probe, deny that information.
And on one hand, it denies the information, but on the other hand, it actually lets Optic know everything that's going on.
That is true.
Because now he knows exactly what's going on. He's going to add some more gateways here. He knows most likely his opponent is going for a Marauder-type expand, except getting a Reaper first, because he wants to see what's going on. So it's like a scouting Marauder expand. It's very hard for me to try to explain it very quickly to you guys. But this Reaper is kind of a tell for Optic. He knows the Tech Lab timing now. He's adding 2 gateways here, and it looks like he is just going to do a safe 3-gate expand during this and put on a little bit of pressure behind it as well.
Yeah, the current way that Terran players are playing TVP is this Reaper is only really going to be out for scouting, like you were saying. There are other opportunities for it, but no one's really explored that to a well enough extent that you can have a refined game to play at a level like a GSTL. So this Reaper is scouting. Optic Zero does know it's coming as a scout. Oh, it's actually going to get in. He moved his sentries away right at the wrong time. The scout's going to be able to see exactly what's going on. Maybe even take out a probe or two. This is really, really good for Optic Zero to get this early advantage going on.
And it looks like he will take out 2 probes. Does not get the third. Nice micro by Optic, pulling the weakened probes away as they're being fired upon. He has started that Nexus. Now, the command center is already done for Jockji. He's going to be able to make extra SCVs out of it if he doesn't move it down. But even so, Optic's not in a bad spot from here. His Nexus is going up. He can put on a little bit of pressure with these units. He may miss his timing, though, if these bunkers go up. Looks like he's actually going to play a little bit passively from here. Not going to get aggressive just yet.
Yeah, Jockji knows the expansion for Oz is going up, Optic Zero is going up, but it is coming up a little bit late, so he knows he can get his expansion safely. He throws down those 2 bunkers to make sure that the amount of units that Optic Zero has can't kill him immediately, or at least shouldn't. But he does want to be very, very safe against something like this.
No, Optic is going to move forward and do a little bit of damage with these units, or at least attempt to. He's got 3 warp gates. That pylon finishing up here at the gold. He's going to use some good force fields. There aren't that many units out here for Jockji. He does have a lot of energy on those sentries. This could be really scary. I don't think this will end the game, but we will see a pretty even trade between these guys, especially if Jockji doesn't react immediately. He has made a 3rd bunker, but I don't think it's going to be up in time.
Yeah, and Optic Zero got those sentries out very early, so he's building up a lot of energy on them. Each one of them is going to be able to throw down a lot of force fields. They're also going to be able to use the other abilities for the sentries to be able to make this Protoss army as powerful as it possibly can be.
And here comes the units. Guardian Shield goes up. Force fields down behind the bunkers. The SCVs cannot repair that one bunker. He's actually got his units positioned in such a good way for that most of the bunkers aren't even firing, but losing a lot of units at the same time.
Yeah, Jockji doing a really nice job. He was only able to get 2 SCVs repairing, but that was exactly what he needed to force the army of Optic Zero back. Optic Zero playing at a pretty nice APM there, but maybe he could go a little bit higher. It looks like he is going to actually flank around the side. This is a really nice move by him. He could actually just run by that bunker and try to get into the main to do some extra damage, but he wants to play it safe. He doesn't want to lose these extra forces that he has here.
Exactly. Now, it looks like he is going to back up. He may go ahead and destroy these rocks. Prepared to take a 3rd base when he wants to. As far as worker count goes, it's 36 probes and 34 SCVs. Adding another gate. He's already got his robotics bay on the way. He's got an observer coming out. So these guys are on pretty even footing. The Nexus has been up. It was up a little bit later, but he's got Chrono Boost on that Nexus now. He's getting out more probes. He's got the probe lead right now. And these guys are pretty even on tech as well. The starport and the robotics bay are finishing around the same time, and that's a good tell that things are even in tech. When the Robotics Bay is finishing up, the Starport should be finishing up as far as tech goes.
Yeah,
timing.
That's a really good position for the Terran player. He's also got the reactor going up, so as soon as he scouts those Colossi are out, he can swap the Starport onto the reactor and get out a lot of really, really fast air units. Get out the Medevacs early so that you're allowed to stim without losing the health of your units, and then get those Vikings out to counter any really high Colossi numbers that are going to come out from Optic Zero.
Scan goes down. He does see the first Colossus is on the way. He saw the Robotics Bay warping in here. And meanwhile, the Observer does see that army destroying the rocks. Optic is now in a tight spot because even though he's got that Colossus tech that he's invested a lot in, he doesn't necessarily have enough units to hold this attack. He has a few sentries out, but that Colossus may not be out in time. This is going to get pretty scary here pretty soon.
And we actually only have 3 gas for NS Hosa right now. That's not going to be enough to really get out a lot of the air units that you want in addition to the upgrades. So he is actually going to put down the 4th one, but it's a little bit later than you would really want in a situation like this.
Absolutely.
Meanwhile, he's actually putting down a 3rd command center. He's putting it down in the, I don't know if it's the secret hallway or the common knowledge hallway, some hallway.
Well, hold that thought, because we're going to have an engagement. We'll talk about the hallway later, Torch. There are more important matters to deal with. There's that hallway there.
There's no more important matters than the hallway.
Second Colossus is a far way off. The Medevacs are out now. He's going to pick up some of these units and move them into the main base of Optic while he sends the others around to the natural. Optic realizes what's going on. He's going to lose a pylon here. Does warp in around the units before losing it. Beautiful move. Otherwise, he would have been supply blocked and would not have been able to get those units out.
This is a really nice maneuver by Joksha. He only threw 1 Marine in there just to get the scouts to know exactly what's going on. He scouts that the robotics facility is going and is still upgrading, so he knows that Optic doesn't have the thermal lances quite yet, but it just finished.
I just finished. Uh-oh, these Stalkers are going to get caught. At least one of them will. The army of Jokji is getting scarier and scarier by the minute. During all of this, you've seen the army of Jokji doesn't look that scary when compared to Optics, but the thing is, that's only half of his army. The other half's back at home. He's got Vikings there. He's got a few more Mirages. He's got 4 Vikings out now. There's a factory position. We'll hold that thought. We might have an engagement. There's a factory to check for Optic's 3rd base. It's not there. Here comes the first Colossus poking in here. He has to be very careful of those Vikings. The Vikings, there's about to be 6 of them. I think Optic should definitely go home from here. He's going to lose too many hit points on these Colossi.
Yeah, Optic, sensing that there was a lot of pressure coming on here from Jokji, was very smart in pushing out a little bit. His army actually is not that big. If there were an engagement right now, the Terran player would have the advantage. But it was the psychology game that he played, that he forced Optic Zero he forced Jokji to back off a little bit, and he prevented the drop that could have happened. Meanwhile, we did have a scan go down from Jokji to scout that observer and take it out. That's a really good move. You want to take that on those observers whenever you can.
Surprisingly, 3 ghosts in production. That's not usually what you make in this situation. Of course, EMPs do become useful against this type of army. He doesn't have that many zealots. But even so, I'd like to see a few more Vikings out first. He's making these ghosts. He may just make these 3 and let their energy build up and then stop making them for a while. That way they can get the energy build up. He can use a few EMPs if he needs to. And he's also predicting the possibility of a tech switch. The Twilight Council is being started here. More gates being added. The 3rd base going up for Optic here at the gold. I like the choice to take the gold. He's actually going to block the command center here with a pylon. I like that choice as well.
In addition to blocking the base of the pylon, he's also putting the one up on top of the cliff. So the Terran player will see that first pylon's there and try to take it out and be like, oh, well, that's probably the only one that's there. That was probably going to be used as the forward pylon. Meanwhile, Optic Zero has a 2nd one there that he can do something with.
Jokji keeps sending single Marines to see the unit composition rather than using scans. I really, really like that.
Yep.
Because it's much cheaper to do that. It's basically 270 minerals versus just 50 minerals. Plus, it's something you can move around unlike a scan. Both of these guys getting ready for an attack here. I think Optic should not engage this. He may even have to cancel this Nexus. If he tries to fight this battle head-on, he will absolutely lose. The upgrades right now, both players having +1, but it's about to be 1-1 for Jokji.
And that 1 extra armor is going to be really huge against the Colossi. The Colossi do splash damage, so the more armor you have, the less damage they do over a large field of area. So it starts to stack up really bit.
Oh, and all these units stacked up for the EMPs. He's going to have to cancel this Nexus. If he tries to hold it, he's going to lose. And he's not canceling it, and it's Colossi falling so fast to Vikings. His entire army being EMP'd, and when I say his entire army, I mean his entire army EMP'd. He blinks away, but he's losing way too many units. The game may end here. The last Colossus falls. These Vikings are going to land because there's nothing else for them to fire at. Nice blinking back by Optic, but you can't blink back forever.
Oh, this is really a smart move by Jockji. He's going to focus that second Nexus down. Even if he loses his entire army, he knows he made a trade, and he's going to be very, very far ahead in the economy. His last few Stalkers are going to try to stay alive, but there's a lot of Marauders in the fight. He has just enough medevacs to keep them stimming and fighting in the battle, and Optic Zero is going to be forced to GG.
GG.
Very nice play by Jockji there.
Yeah, did a great job. Optic, you know, I said if he tries to hold the Nexus, he will lose. But if he didn't hold the Nexus, he would still probably lose. The third command center was up. He wasn't mining from it yet. He was already behind an army. He was just significantly behind in general in that game. And Jockji played well, I have to say. He held off that pressure. And a lot of the time, when you go for that pressure move, like we saw last game, like we saw this game, if you don't do a significant amount of damage with it, you just have to accept that you're going to be playing from behind after that.
Yeah, that's really true. And the key thing is that Jockji moved out at the perfect timing. Optic Zero was going for that expansion. He just got his extra tech up. He wasn't really pumping out the units that he really needed to defend against an army like that. Jockji also had a really nice mixture of units. It was just perfect combination to make everything happen his way.
Yeah, exactly. I gotta say, I'm a little, I don't want to say disappointed in Optic's play, but I think he's capable of a lot more. And
yeah,
he said he wasn't nervous, but I think he might have been a little bit nervous.
Well, every time you go in that booth for the first time, it's extremely nerve-wracking.
It's
Until
different.
you experience it, you don't even know how to prepare. It's just, like, you see it on TV, you can even see it in person, but until you're sitting down about to play and be like, I am playing in the GSL.
I'm on camera right now, everyone's looking at my face. Everyone's watching everything I'm doing. There are thousands upon thousands of people watching this. It's hard. It's not easy.
It's hard the first time, and then after that, it's a little less hard the second time. And then you start to learn exactly what you personally need to do to prepare for something like that. And just that experience is something that gets overestimated a lot.
Yeah, it's very, very important. But when you have QXC coming in your booth and patting you on the back even after you lose, it does make you feel a lot better. Teams need to do that more. And they do. I mean, after a while, teams have really found out that if you go and talk to your player in between the games, it really helps. In StarCraft 1, that happened a little bit, but not really that much. When I look and watch the Pro League games, there's not always coaching going on. The players are very individual with everything that goes on. I mean, they go and get their high fives when they win, but when they lose, there's not always a lot of interaction there.
And that's also because the rules for StarCraft 1 were a lot more strict. It was more focused on the broadcast only, whereas in StarCraft 2 it's focused on making sure the broadcast goes smooth, making sure everything's fair, but also focusing on making sure the players get what they need to be people.
Exactly. So we're going to see FXO's next choice of player. Is it going to be...
Oh.
T-Gun?
Is it a fake?
Is it a fake?
Doesn't look like it.
It's not a fake.
The resident Zerg player for FXO, since Sheth is off in America for this week, T-Gun is going to come out and show how Australians play some ZVT.
So T-Gun has done a great job with ZVT in the past. His last televised match, he did, let's just be honest, he got crushed, and it was a little humiliating for him. But he's actually taken that to heart, and he has been training so much harder since that happened. He was training hard before, but after that happened, he got so focused. Now, actually, the Korean scene thinks that T-Gun is like the most handsome person ever, and he kind of is, but I'm not just making a joke. The Korean scene actually talks about how handsome he is all the time. And whenever people meet him, they say, are you a model and stuff? Like when Shoyu met him, he asked the same question. It's just a really... Koreans really think that he looks good.
T-Gun the model. I can see it.
I can see it. I actually think he does look good in the booth. I'm serious. He just does, man.
I think, as you were saying before, his first game in the booth wasn't very good, but it was a wake-up call. He has been practicing a lot harder this week. I think he will look very good in this game, not just in the booth today.
Yeah, absolutely. You saw last game he tried to use Infestors. He got that very fast Infestation Pit when the Banshees rolled in, though he wasn't really prepared. And he's kind of practiced against that style a lot now, so he's really prepared for it. It's not a very common thing to see 2-4 Banshees kind of delayed. He didn't really expect that, but he's practiced against it a lot, and I don't think we'll see Jockji just try to do the same thing either. But again, he's worked on his weaknesses, and you guys haven't seen the T-Gun that everyone else in the house has seen, and everyone else who's practiced with him and played him on the ladder has seen. He's actually really good, and that one game that he was broadcasted on is no indicator of his skill level.
Yeah, and I believe this is actually the first game that he's really played at a serious level. A lot of pro gamers have actually come from previous games, so they have that training regime coming through. But as a brand new player, it's very different, and that's got its pros and cons to it. So you don't have the negative things that you've worked into your habits, your bad habits in practice, but you also don't have that experience that we were talking about as extremely vital.
Yeah, T-Gun doesn't have any real specific game that he was a pro gamer at before. This is his first professional game being played. He's really good at a lot of other games, but in general, his hands, his movements, his reaction time, those are all incredible. And when T-Gun first joined FXO, he was actually, I don't want to say he was bad, but he did not play to his fullest potential, and now, I mean, he has improved so much.
Yeah.
He was actually like just like a Master League player before when he joined the team. He wasn't even that good, to be honest. And the first time I played against him, I crushed him and said, is he on our team? And then now I can never beat him, man. He's so good.
Yeah, and he's got a lot further that he can go the more that he practices here in Korea. But he also has a little koala bear there peeking over the overlay. He's going to be supporting him with some little extra APM during the game.
He is Australian. All right, so the map is going to be Terminus. Can T-Gun show his stuff here in this ZBT, or will Jagji continue to get points for NS Hosa? Let's find out here at the GSTL. This is Venus, week number 3.